The following is an Outdoor Channel original production.
Montana, big sky country. Protecting this rugged wilderness is a brave group of men and women. These are the Wardens, dedicated to the preservation of the last best place. In Montana's Region 4, State Game Warden Brian Goley takes a tip call.
124, that's what we figured.
A trucker called in to report a pile of dead deer alongside the highway.
I'll let you know.
Warden Goley heads toward the site.
7 deer in the ditch. Yeah. That's 123. So we can start looking, I guess. Now, if a trucker, he sits way higher. So we might have to be careful. We might miss it. But I mean, 3 deer is not hard to miss. 310. Or 7. So I'm assuming. Oh, look at. Oh, I thought that was blood. I'm like, well, maybe they did hit him. I just wonder about this call.
Suddenly, the warden spots an eagle and then carcasses.
Oh boy. Oh boy, this is not good.
67.
Well, it's just interesting to see what this is going to be. Because it's every different kind of deer you'd think of. Oh, look real quick. It's got some old stuff, too.
The warden worries he might have a major poaching case.
Yeah, the legs are all broke.
Over on the other side of the region, Warden Quinn Kuka responds to another potential case.
There's a deer dumped in this dumpster that apparently not all the meat has been taken. It's fairly fresh, and suspects possibly could be one of these homes. So we're gonna check out the deer first.
A resident reported finding the deer less than an hour ago.
2 hindquarters or front quarters, a hind quarter. There is nothing taken off this animal. It's definitely wasted. It looks old, it's not fresh. Looks like a little 3x3. So we're gonna go knock on the door of some people we think have something to do with it and just see what they say. Okay, I don't think anything's taken off an animal. I'm just gonna pull around front and we'll go knock on some doors. The dumpster's pretty empty, so it just recently got dumped. I didn't see a tag on it at all. It'd be good to know what his name is in case he got a duplicate, but he'd keep both of them if he did. So, let's just do some knocking talking.
Warden Kuka heads to the house in front of the dumpster.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm State Game Warden Quinn Kuka. I was just wondering if you could tell me about the deer that's in the dumpster out back.
Out back there?
Nope, back that way.
Okay. My boyfriend got an antelope archery season a few months ago, and then he just got one
Little deer,
years ago.
an antelope and a deer, or an antelope?
Yeah, he got an antelope and a 4x4.
Okay, not that big a deal. Is he home?
No.
Okay. Did he put it in the dumpster?
No. It's hanging at his buddy's house.
Okay. Do you know anything about the one in the dumpster?
I have no idea.
Okay. I just have to kind of figure out what happened to it.
Turns out the woman's boyfriend works at the local prison.
All right, well, I'll go up there and try to catch him at work, and if not, I'll be back, so.
All right, I'll try to give him a call.
Okay, okay. Thanks. So, pretty big sportsman. His whole house has mounts inside.
The warden thinks the woman might not be telling her the truth. Kuka wants to talk to the boyfriend.
They're both corrections officers at the prison, so we'll go to the prison and bug him.
But before the warden leaves the neighborhood, the girlfriend calls the warden back.
Okay, so you're a corrections officer.
Correct.
And I'm a peace officer.
Yes.
And you know what game we're playing, right?
I know what's going on.
Honesty is gonna get you so much further. But it looks suspicious to me when you don't know anything and now you just told me a story, okay?
I know.
Okay, this is my side.
Yes.
And then I don't think you wanna tell me whose it is.
Up in Montana's Region 4, Warden Brian Goley responds to a tip. A trucker reports multiple dead deer in a ditch.
Yeah, the legs are all broke.
Goley counts 7 deer. His investigation ends as quickly as it starts.
Yeah, let's roll. Hot tip, turns out to be the highway department dump site for roadkill. It's a good spot, it's just, you know, when the snow and stuff goes away, people can see it, and I think that's gonna generate some calls.
The warden heads back out on regular patrol.
What the?
I caught this guy trying to go through this gate.
Yeah,
Did you stop him?
I had my bolt cutters out.
He runs into fellow warden Dave Holland. He and a couple of locals keep an eye on the local herd of elk.
That's how.
Yeah, they're gonna
The
go.
highway down here.
There's no way you'll stop them. They'll go tonight.
Sergeant Holland's phone rings.
They shot a buck up there.
A landowner calls to report witnessing a hunter shooting and killing a deer on his property.
We just came through there when we gassed up, or we're gonna gas up. We went around the back way, come down that to the bridge, and there was a monster
That's the one that was shot.
whitetail buck there. If it's the buck I'm thinking, man, it was a pig. It was not hurt when we saw it.
The wardens head to the kill site.
I'll turn around down here. Did you see a guy out there working on wood?
Yeah, it did. I'll just run up there real quick.
I'm gonna check Lowry Bridge here and see if the vehicle's down here.
The wardens find the landowner.
Here's where he was sitting. Whoa! Are these his tracks? Well, he drove right out here. He was sitting right here. Well, look at that, there's blood right there.
Near Shelby, Montana, Warden Quinn Kuka investigates a case involving a small buck trashed in a dumpster. The warden speaks with the suspect's girlfriend, who's been hesitant to reveal information.
So whose deer is it?
That's what I said, it was his buddies.
Yeah, who?
She doesn't want to give the warden a name.
It looks suspicious to me when you don't know anything and now you just told me a story, okay?
I know.
Okay, this is my side.
Yes.
And then I don't think you want to tell me whose it is. Remember, he got you in this spot. You're not getting him in
no.
trouble. He did this.
No, it's okay.
The woman eventually gives Warden Kuka the name of a guard that works with her boyfriend at the local prison.
I'll go up there and I'll talk to the captain, so. Thank you very much. Okay.
The warden heads toward the prison to interview both men.
I'm like the all Region 4 game warden. I've been in everybody's district. Like, I don't have one of my own. I just do it.
As Warden Kuka gets to the prison, she notices a deer in the back of a red truck. As she runs the plate, she notices a guard. Turns out, it's the woman's boyfriend. On prison grounds, our cameras are not allowed to identify guards, so the warden talks to the man off camera.
You can't just kill a deer and throw it in the dumpster. It's a waste of game.
It hung in my garage.
It's a bigger violation, so we're trying to resolve the issue before it gets bigger, but.
Okay.
So whose deer is it?
It's my deer.
The guard admits he killed and dumped the small buck.
Buddy, we got some issues. What time do you get off work?
What did I do wrong?
Well, first of all, allegedly you have 2 deer. You have a big one, a nice one hanging in your friend's garage right now.
I don't have any hanging in any garage.
So here's an opportunity to tell me the truth, because I'm not running around in
You don't need
circles.
to run.
The warden wants to know if her suspect also shot a second deer. The guard claims the deer in the red truck is his father's.
This big one is my dad's, and it's got his tag on it.
This case gets complicated. Near Augusta, Montana,
It looks pretty cold.
Warden Brian Goley investigates a dead deer call.
Whoa! Are these his tracks? Well, he drove right out here. He was sitting right here. Look at that, there's blood right there.
A landowner called wardens to report a shooting and killing of an already wounded white-tailed buck.
He's got different tire tread on one of them. Heck, he was way out here.
Now Warden Goley wants to find the hunter and the deer. Warden Dave Holland also works the case.
Okay.
He said it was wounded. One antler shot off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The wardens find the deer.
So he thought it was wounded because the antler was shot off,
Yeah,
huh?
that's why he thought it was wounded. Took care of it.
Yeah, I only see one shot though there, Dave.
Yeah, it was
The wardens recover the animal and head to the shooter's home.
Here, I'll get this side. All this, there's a deer hanging right there, it looked like. This just looks like somebody we should know, doesn't it? I'm Game Warden Brian Goley.
Brian Goley.
Nice to meet you. What's your name? How you doing? Brian Goley. So you two were out hunting today, is that the deal?
Well, I was more of the game hitter.
Okay, well, we have to come talk to you on your own property. You're not under arrest or anything, but we did have a complaint that we need to talk about. And you're aware of that, obviously. You're not hiding a thing from us.
No, you were very honest on the phone with me.
And I do appreciate that. So,
After a quick interview, wardens discover the hunter had lost his way. The man shot the buck across the property line where he had permission to hunt.
I'm pretty sure that shot in the rear end happened when that deer was laying down.
Well, he said he shot 3 times.
That deer was not wounded before that.
No. Well, he claimed he was interpreting the broken antler as being wounded.
Right, that's right. What's wrong in the tires? The front tires are the difference. The back, but we were right.
The wardens confiscate the deer and slap the hunter with a $135 fine. The hunter readily admits his mistake.
Right, thank
You be
you.
safe, okay?
Okay.
Take it easy. Next time we see you, be in a good circumstance.
Good circumstance.
All right.
All right, Steve, thanks. We'll see ya.
Your basic run-of-the-mill situation where somebody saw a deer, took a chance, and got caught by the landowner. And the landowner's hired hand seen him, said you don't have permission. And the one thing good about it, the guy made a mistake, but he totally took responsibility.
I'll be
And
clear, 1 citation.
that's always the best thing, best scenario in my opinion.
Sometimes
I kind of want him.
a warden's job stinks. Region 4 Warden Quinn Kuka stops to clear roadkill while on an unrelated call.
They kind of smell like garlic. What'd you think of his face? Do I smell like him? I'm gonna skid him out. He's not bad. He's not in bad shape.
Earlier in the day, the warden discovered a small buck trashed in a dumpster. A guard at the local prison admitted the deer was his. However, there is now a second deer in question.
So I go back to the girlfriend's house and I just want to clarify whose deer belongs with who. If his father came to town, did he actually harvest this buck? And the girlfriend, she tells me there's 2 deer in the back of the truck. She witnesses that. She says one is her boyfriend's and one is his dad. Well, he had already harvested one with his friends opening day that all the correction officers went on this hunt. So now I'm thinking there's 2 deer. So she tells me there's a corrections officer that's not on duty. He lives in town, and that's where I'm headed next, is to interview him and see if he had anything to do with this second deer. I'm Montana State Game Warden Quinn Kuka. I'm here to just take a peek of deer, the license on it, real quick.
Peak of deer license. I don't have license or deer.
Did you at one point?
No.
Do you have a deer here?
I have a deer head.
Whose is it?
Mine.
Okay, can I take a peek at it?
Yeah, from the back of the truck.
And so there's no other deer on
No, you guys can.
I can take a peek?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the reason why I'm here is because everybody told me that deer would be here and I was hoping I could just take a peek at the license. Do you know where his deer is at?
It was hanging in his house, in his garage.
How big of a deer did he harvest?
Small one. It was like a 3x2, 3x3, something like that.
Okay, and then when you went hunting with him and his dad, I believe?
I didn't go with him and his dad, no.
Their stories are lining up, but Warden Kuka is still not convinced.
I'm not coming across accusing you.
Okay.
You're supposed to be my witness, so I'm hoping that you saw something. So I'm asking you what questions that they kind of told me, and so these are like the reason.
Oh, you're fine, and I'm not sticking up for anybody, and I love what you guys do. If his deer was a small deer and his dad got a big one, now if his dad gave his deer or something like that, I don't know.
Okay. I'm not trying to come across accusatory to you. I'm trying to ask questions because this is what they told me, because I've talked to every one of them so far.
I'm not trying to be mean. Like, what started all this? Was it deer or something?
Yeah.
Which?
So which one?
In Montana's Region 4, State Game Warden Quinn Kuka tries to get to the bottom of a potential over-harvest case.
What started all this? Was it deer or something?
Yeah.
Which?
So which one?
Yeah,
Which one?
Like what? Like, yeah, because you're saying that he has 2 deer.
He
right?
does have 2 deer.
So which one are you talking about? His dad
both.
got a deer.
I'm talking about both, the big one and the small one.
Okay, the only one that I know that got was a small one. I know he told me his dad and him went out hunting, and his dad got a bigger one.
Okay.
The warden interviews a man who hunted with her suspect. He seems to avoid the warden's questions.
Where on earth do you think his second deer is at?
I don't know. Maybe his dad.
Earlier in the day, the warden discovered a small white-tailed buck trashed in a dumpster. Kuka's investigation led to the local prison, where a guard confessed to dumping the small buck. The warden suspects the guard may have shot a second larger deer, but no one seems willing to tell the warden where that carcass hides.
You guys are all hunting fools, you live, breathe, and hunting, and you never sent a text message of each other's bucks.
Not of that one, no.
Which ones do you have?
Just mine? That I don't have his deers. No, we're not even Facebook friends. I don't. I'm not lying to you.
I'm not laughing at that.
Well, none of these deer are really that big to me. Even that one I call a small one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Montana. When you get a big deer,
right,
then you can brag about it.
Right.
But I mean, the one that he got, I doubt he even took a picture of that one because it was so small. It was like a 3x3. But I told him, I was like, hey man, that's good eating.
But you know he killed 2 deer.
No, I know he killed 1 deer, and he told me his dad got another one. Now you're making me sound like I need to go over there and like kick his ass or something because somebody's lying to me.
After a long investigation, the warden decides the suspect only shot 1 deer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes.
And I'm sorry for raising my voice at you.
No, you're fine.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess we spent a few hours in Shelby and we came to the conclusion that there's a waste of game. I recovered the tag. The tag is pretty clean, no blood on it or anything like that. So for sure he's gonna get it for waste because he left it on the floor of his garage and it rotted and he never butchered it and then he just decides to put it in the dumpster. So that's where it stands right now.
Time to call it a night. But on the way home, a potentially dangerous situation.
You need to get back in the vehicle and stay right there. God, that was amazing. That is amazing. I just pulled over a van going off in the ditch off-road and got back on the interstate. When I flicked my blue and red lights on, they switched drivers.
The warden calls for police and then cautiously approaches the van.
Hey, you guys, do you have your driver's license and registration? And originally, you were the driver.
Well,
you swapped.
Yeah, well, what happened was back here about 3 miles back, I had a headache.
Okay.
So I let him drive. It's my son. And he just drove up to here. And
Okay, that's not what I saw, but you can tell the trooper that when he comes by, okay? I need you to all sit in here. How many people are in the vehicle? 2 males and 1 female?
Yeah.
Any firearms or any knives? No guns?
The driver said he had a headache and let his underage son drive. Warden Kuka decides to wait for local police.
Okay, just hang tight and I'll be right with you, but don't get out of the vehicle, okay, you guys? I'll be right back. Did you happen to have a trooper out this way?
Are you giving me
go.
So you just will
He's just
5-3, go ahead.
he's just a 16-year-old.
yeah, kind of scared.
And they don't get their license till they're 18.
Okay. And then you just switch drivers because you don't have a driver's license.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Most oftentimes the reason why we're stopping is that that's suspicious for alcohol and stuff.
No,
okay.
there's no alcohol. I've got a bottle tequila here for my wife for Christmas.
Okay. Not opened or anything like that. Okay. All right. Hang tight, guys. It'll be just another second. Okay.
Police will take over this traffic stop. Warden Kuka can finally call it a night.
We just turned around, had a truck go by me. It's 9th of November, and this guy's got a Christmas tree in the back. Thought I saw some orange, I'm not sure, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense. We're gonna stop it.
State Game Warden John Lasovsky makes a stop near White Sulphur Springs.
You guys are cutting trees off early. Can I look in the back of the truck? You can. Can I? Yeah. Here, let me get up there. Anytime you're putting something underneath Christmas trees this early, that there's a problem.
Hunting season is in full swing, and Montana Game Warden Rick Schmock is up before the sun.
Every year we get the occasional person that decides to shoot a mule deer buck down here in this trophy unit without a permit.
The warden tags hunting property with extra signs.
This is kind of the initial heads-up warning, and then if we have any problems, we can always come back and say, you know, it's properly signed.
Campsites fill up around the area. The warden keeps an eye on the crowd.
This is a piece of private ground. With block management, there's no driving on. And then there's a state section that there's signs right up here by the corrals where they drove in at that say road closed. So I'm just figuring out what they're doing here.
Schmock spots a truck in an area off limits.
Good, how are you? Yeah, did you guys see there's a sign here, a big sign that says road closed?
No, we didn't see that.
Okay, yeah.
We did run out of road though, so
Yeah.
I was actually aiming for down there.
Okay, all right. Well, just to give you a heads up, that could be a pretty significant citation.
Okay.
I mean, we put a lot of effort into signing these roads, and this piece of private down that you just drove through, if they close down, there's no more hunting because of that.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna make a huge issue of it now, but just be mindful of it if you would. Appreciate
Okay.
it. So.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right, thank you.
Wardens help mark areas off limits to hunters. Seems the extra signs don't always work.
What's going on?
Well, there's 4 people over here at the gravel pile.
Okay.
They parked right here by the gate that says area behind this sign closed to hunting.
Right.
And they walked back in there and shot an antelope.
Okay.
I just wanted to see if they had talked with you guys, or if they had permission, or if you knew anything about it, or how you wanted to proceed with that.
Schmock calls the landowner to check on 4 hunters tucked back on private property.
I believe it would have been day before yesterday, maybe. It was one day this year recently.
How's it going?
Fat and out of shape.
Fat and out of shape? You get one?
I did, yeah.
Good deal. Buck or doe or?
Buck.
Oh yeah, nice little buck. Perfect.
Then I got my tag right here. I didn't put it on him because I didn't have tape.
Ah.
But I got it cut out for
Okay,
you.
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
Where did you get this at? Just right off that corn?
Yeah, we got him out the back. You know, we seen him along the interstate there, and then we seen a bunch back over here, so I pulled in and I talked to Wes down here.
Okay.
Riverbend, and he said, it's not block management, but yeah, I'll let you go in there. But
Okay.
just please sign in at the box at the gates.
Okay. Well, that's a big thing. It just make sure you guys signed in, and I know they don't allow a whole lot of hunting over here, so I called Jody, and she said she hadn't given any permission. It's just one of those things. I mean, you guys are close by, so I'm not in the business of making things bigger than what they are.
Meanwhile, Warden Nick Taylor patrols Region 5. Plenty of hunters are out on this weekend.
Look at that. Blood coming out tailgate. Didn't even notice it. It's like my first day all over again. Not a bad buck. He's awful bloody.
I double lunged him.
The warden asked to see paperwork.
Did you go by Robert or Bob?
Rob.
Rob, do you have your conservation license with you?
But this hunter's paperwork seems to be amiss.
And did you get on the colony or the state section?
State section.
Get on the state section? So one thing, do you have an updated block management sign-in slip? Because this one's only good for October 11th.
Well, she didn't date it for the days that come out here, so it was good for the whole season.
Nope, it doesn't work that way. It's good for 3 days. I need to see where you guys did kill it. Okay? Do you understand?
Well, we were chasing other antelope, so we actually didn't dress it out till we got past Shauna Road. So, I mean, I can show you. I mean, I had a tag and everything, of course.
Okay.
The men say they shot an antelope on state land, but dressed it elsewhere. The warden isn't so sure their story adds up.
You know, their story could be right. They could have gutted it there. But if, you know, we better see a gut pile right by the road. But if there's not a gut pile, we're gonna have a problem. You know, I'm thinking these guys shot this on the colony and they weren't signed in. They were signed in a month ago. Right now, there's 3 guys in this truck. And typically, you know, if I didn't have the cameraman with me, I would have had the shooter sitting right there with me and I'd be yakking with him all the way down there. Because what you don't want is you don't want 3 guys getting their story right, which is exactly what they're doing right now. They're talking because there's a problem. But they've kind of told me enough already that the ship's either gonna sink or it's gonna float.
In Montana's Region 5, Warden Nick Taylor follows hunters back to where they claim they dressed their antelope.
Very good. You just loaded it up whole and...
You know, down there on the state land where I shot it, and then it went through the fence, and then it died on the Hutterite place. And we loaded it up right away because the antelope were heading east.
So it died on the Hutterite place?
Well, it died on the Hutterite place, yeah. Okay. And I didn't want these guys to lose their opportunity.
And where did you tag it at?
I tagged it down there.
You tagged it down there? Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Immediately beyond kill.
Right. Well, just take us down there, all right? He just told me the antelope's illegal. He said he shot it on the state section, and it ran off onto the Hutterite colony, which he was signed in a month ago. You gotta be signed in right now. And that's his story. I don't believe it. I think he shot on the Hutterite colony and just didn't sign in. It's a big buck for this area. I think he probably just got a little bit desperate. He's got excited, and he took advantage of an opportunity.
The men show the warden where they killed the big buck.
I see blood right here. Right there.
The hunter walks Taylor to the exact spot where the buck died.
Okay. And so where did you shoot from, Rob?
It was down there somewhere, over this way. They came this way, and this is where he died, and we drove up. You can see where we drove him through here.
Yep, I see that. And were you in the vehicle, Rob? Did you shoot from the vehicle?
I did not shoot from the vehicle.
Did you get it out of the? Did you get out?
I was out of the truck when I shot.
Okay. Did you shoot from the road?
I was just off the road.
Okay. Can you show me where you shot from? That looks like it'd be a pretty tough shot if they were just on the other side of the fence line there. Kneeling down here because you're in a depression. Right through there, huh? Okay. You weren't completely upfront with me about where the antelope was killed. When I asked where the antelope was harvested, you said the Hutterite colony.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it changed to the state section bordering the Hutterite colony. And then when we got out of the gut pile, it changed back to, I shot it on the state section, it ran on the Hutterite colony and retrieved it. So I've had your story change a couple different times. That's why I don't have a lot of clarity. Do you understand why?
Well,
okay.
You know, my brother was talking there, and I questioned him when he was, you know, when we got in the truck, you know.
Okay.
And so, you know, what I just told you is how it happened.
Okay.
You know.
So there is an issue. Okay, you weren't signed in for the Hutterite colony, and you retrieved an antelope off it. And so when I hear of an ungutted animal transported,
you need to look at.
Right away, I'm thinking there's some problems here. Okay. I am going to cite you for hunt without land permission. Okay. Not the end of the world. Unfortunately, the antelope does come with me. When it's retrieved unlawfully, I got to take it. Okay. And I don't want you to break in the law, being in unlawful possession of a game animal, which is one of our top tier laws. And it sounds like you were driving the vehicle. You can't drive off road. Okay. And so I am going to cite you for that. Okay. Unfortunately, where I'm at is I feel like I got some of the truth here, but I do not feel like I got the whole truth, which is disappointing, and I'm a little bit disappointed in myself. We dealt with the issues that we could prove. We dealt with the issues that we had present in front of us. That one's done and over with. Go to the next one.
Back in Region 4, Warden John Lasovsky stops a suspicious truck just outside town.
You guys are cutting trees off early. Can I look in the back of the truck?
You can.
Can I? Yeah. Is it in there? Okay. Whose elk is it?
No, it's a deer.
It's a deer? Who's it?
Can I put a coat on?
Yeah, please do.
It's Jack deer.
Jack?
It's out of Great Falls.
Okay.
The warden finds a deer hidden under the trees.
So tell me one more time, John, is who?
Well, Jack is what we call him.
Is Jack? Okay.
He's good friends with my father.
Okay, and you guys are at Two Creeks?
Yeah, this is his brother.
All right, does he have any sort of way for me to talk to him at all? Phone number, anything like that? So how it usually works is if you're gonna transport his buck, you have some sort of slip that gives you permission to have it. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise what I got is a deer with just, you know, Jack's deer with you and Jack isn't around. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Okay.
The warden calls dispatch. He wants to contact the man who allegedly shot the deer.
What I'd like to know is if John got a 4-point whitetail buck today. Could you ask that question for me, please? Moreover, I'll be real interested to know if you get his dad on the phone at all. That would be a big plus. It's the 9th of November. Nobody cuts a Christmas tree that early. And he's got 2. He's covering that deer up. We need a crumb here, because I think we're right on the money, but we don't have no way to hold that deer.
Dispatch calls back.
495.
Go ahead.
There's nobody at that location.
Go ahead.
There's nobody at that location.
In Montana's Region 4, Warden John Lasovsky investigates a hunter with 2 Christmas trees in the back of his truck.
This deer isn't legal in my mind. We're gonna have a talk and see what we can come up with. It's the 9th of November, and you're cutting a Christmas tree. They're gonna be dead within 4 weeks. So what I'm saying is, do you know what that looks like for me?
Well,
I mean,
I'm not trying to break the law, sir.
The warden finds a small white-tailed buck hidden under the trees. The driver says he's transporting it for another hunter, but the warden doesn't buy the story.
I mean, honestly, if this was a deal where we're just trying to get him some meat, I get that. If this is a deal where you're taking it and you're gonna go do it and you're gonna fill another tag, your tag, I don't get that.
Sir, it's not meat for John.
Right.
It's meat for me, but he shot the deer.
Right. For me, I'm hoping you're shooting straight with me, because I don't feel good about this. I just don't. So it is what it is. Let's take it a little further. Let's roll down the road here, and then we'll take it from there.
Warden Lasovsky is still waiting to see if contacts can be made with the hunter who allegedly shot the buck.
Boy, he's minding his P's and Q's, isn't he?
Dispatch calls back.
Be advised, I have that individual on a landline, and he said he got a 3-point buck, thinks about noon in area 446.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I think that kind of settles it.
Turns out the driver's story might be true.
1523.
That basically is the guy that's got the deer tag that is on that buck, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't a phone call made before I could get to him. So I'm stuck. It just is what it is. So we talked to this guy, and we're good, okay? So we're caught good. You see where it was at with me.
I'm fine with
I know, but you understand. I mean, it was just a big, flag for us. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Enjoy your trees. And if you can, next time have a transport slip and we'll be all good.
I'll do that.
All right.
Sorry.
No, it is what it is. We got her squared up and I appreciate you taking the time.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you.
In Montana's Region 3, Warden Rick Schmock hits the road during antelope season.
Game warden's pulling up. And they're all like, what? How are ya? Good. Trying to knock an antelope down, or?
Yeah, he's got an antelope B tag, toe tag.
These hunters just shot an antelope on private land they have permission to hunt.
You already shot it? Put a hole in it?
Yeah, I got a hole. Good hit
Oh, really?
on this side, yeah.
Problem is, the wounded animal jumped a fence to another piece of private property. The men do not have permission to access that land.
I ran into this group during archery season and had complaints on them for hunting from the road. I ended up making a stop on them and giving them the, you guys need to clean it up, make it work type deal. Same group, got to kill an antelope. Got permission from the landowner to be in there and pursue these antelope. Apparently took 1 or 2 shots and they thought they hit her twice, doe antelope. You know, now she's crossed the fence from one piece of property that they had permission to be on onto another that typically doesn't allow much for access. So we're trying to make arrangements here to get a hold of that landowner, see if we can get these guys in there to finish off this antelope so it doesn't go to waste or suffer or anything like that.
Back up in Region 4, Warden John Lisowski patrols a local campsite. He discovers a strange-looking tarp and decides to investigate.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
Inside, an antelope doe without a proper harvest tag.
It's on the inside, huh?
The man who shot the animal shows up in camp.
How are you? Are you wet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just realized I didn't put my tag on when we pulled it out of the river.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's take a peek.
The paperwork checks out, but the hunter did not properly tag his harvest.
This needs to be on the animal.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sorry.
You kind of understand where we're at with this, what this does for me. It's a pretty big flag.
Yeah.
The warden tickets this hunter for failure to properly tag his animal.
You're a good man. All right. Well, I appreciate you being cordial about it. And
Yeah, thanks for the wake-up call.
Because the doe appears to be wet and unfit for consumption, Lisowski decided to not confiscate the carcass.
they drug it across the river to try to get it out and had drug it for quite a ways, and it really didn't look like it was fit for consumption with the food bank. So I ended up seizing the animal and receding it back to him. So he got to keep his antelope, but I think he gets it.
Over in Region 3, Warden Rick Schmock tries to help hunters who shot and wounded an antelope. It jumped a fence to private property where the men do not have permission to hunt.
So we're trying to make arrangements here to get a hold of that landowner.
The warden spends the afternoon trying to track down the landowner.
I'm not going to stand there and debate it with them. You know, it becomes a private property right, which has been tested and proven through not only Montana Supreme Court, but United States Supreme Court. I mean, it's a basis for the Constitution. And so they're trying to put the blame on the landowner that doesn't allow access, that, you know, basically saying it's BS that people can't go retrieve an animal that was shot and went over onto that property. Well, you know what? There again is an example of the accountability. I mean, it's something they've got to consider, putting themselves in those kind of positions. You know, and they're not thinking that far ahead. What if something happens, you know?
After repeated attempts, he fails to obtain permission to access the land.
Well, we tried. You guys tried, I tried. I mean, what else nobody's there.
Yeah, well, she actually trotted off over the hill.
Okay, well, good.
You know.
Well, you know, I mean,
feel good about it.
I'm glad you don't. I'm glad you don't. I mean, I was telling him maybe it's sadistic, but I'm glad to see it. I am. That tells me a lot about your character and a lot about how your dad raised you. You know, and that's what it should be about, guys. This, not this. You know, I mean, it should be about this.
I really appreciate it.
Nope. It is what it is. No, it is what it is, guys. Thanks for sticking around and trying to do what you could. And if you guys need anything else, you've got my card. If something goes on out there that I need to know about, I'd greatly appreciate a call. So I wish you guys the best of your hunt.
The cold and snowy season descends on Montana.
They try to jump the fence, and they miss it, and then it tangles up, and they start to fighting it. You can see how she messed up her shoulder, and then she gets all twisted up in there, and they can't get out.
State Game Warden Joe Cambick responds to a report of a dead elk outside the town of Deer Lodge. The culprit, barbed wire fence.
It's just a bummer, but it's a fact of life for these elk because they gotta jump a lot of fences. Unfortunately, like I said, it's a fact of life and it sucks, but it is what it is.
Tens of thousands of miles of razor-sharp wire spider across this part of the state. Wardens say they often see wildlife tangled and killed in fences. Come spring, Montana's game wardens help with a solution. Warden Cambick lends a hand on a much-needed wildlife fence project paid for by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
I traded my gun belt in for a tool belt, and we are building fence, and I should get back to work before they get mad at me.
Locals help an area rancher mend his fence using a new technique designed to keep the cattle in while protecting wildlife from dangerous barbed wire.
The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Anaconda Sportsmen, and Montana Game Wardens and Game Warden Association have got together to help the Perkins Ranch build some fence, some wildlife-friendly fence, which is really important. You know, we want this to kind of be a testament that, you know, of landowners, sportsmen, and wardens working together to solve a problem.
The top and bottom strands of new fence have no barbs. This allows elk and deer to better jump fences without becoming tangled.
We have a lot of wildlife. The elk numbers, they seem to go down the valley more and more and get into the agricultural areas where you've got the hay production. And it causes a problem as you've got cattle on one side and the hay on the other. As the elk cross, they knock those fences down and bring the cattle with them.
The plan here is to try to put up a fence that the elk can cross back and forth through, the deer, lots of white-tailed mule deer, so that the fence stays up enough that the cows can't get out. This type of a fence doesn't work everywhere, but it works in a lot of places, and we're thinking this is worth a shot. We're gonna try to make this work. So there's a little bit more tolerance for the elk. He gets really upset when, you know, he's trying to make a livelihood out here. They knock the fence down, and then he's chasing his cows, and he's spending all day doing something that he didn't plan on doing that day, and then gets behind. I'll let Scott give the nod, and if he likes it, let's dig a hole and put a brace in. Sportsmen need to be as proactive as possible. They need to get out there this time of the year, talk to ranchers. If there's an area they want to hunt, they got to go out and talk to them now. And they got to do stuff like this, help them fix fence, help them brand, help them whatever that they need help doing, so that come October, November, they can secure a place for themselves to hunt.
You think about, you know, the migration routes of animals. Well, it creates a lot of problems with landowners. They have a limited amount of resources, monetary and labor. And when you have a, you know, 300 head of elk working through your fields every night, that creates a lot of destruction, especially on your fencing systems. So, you know, this provides some relief for the landowner. Not only does he have material, but he's got labor to do things that might take him you know, several days to accomplish. We're able to do it in a couple hours. But it also provides an opportunity for education. We're educating the sportsmen and the landowners that we have a wildlife-friendly fence that we hope is going to prevent a lot of damage in the future.
I taught hunter safety for 30 years. Projects like this are good for the future of the other hunters coming along, so I'm all for that.
The more we do, the more productive we get, and the more we do. And projects like this, the more property we're going to be able to keep open to hunt. That's our national heritage.
Every day, game wardens think about this issue, every day. We are the face of Montana's Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, and we are the canary in the mine. When something goes wrong, we're usually the first to see it, and we're always the first to try to help out. This is just another example of seeing a problem and coming up with a very positive solution that's going to benefit people for years to come.
North of Kalispell, Montana, Warden Captain Lee Anderson begins a 2-day remote backcountry patrol.
Well, we're going to go do a little backpack patrol through the Jewel Basin. We've done a lot of work up in here with rehabbing some of these mountain lakes. It's a real popular place to go hiking, and the only way you can get in there is to hike.
Whew. Wardens often work remote areas on foot.
Made it up here to the lake, so we're getting our camp set up. But now we're gonna head out, hike up to another lake, so we gotta hang our food.
This is bear country. Before Anderson starts his patrol, he hangs his food pack away from his camp.
We'll take all our food, we got all our attractants out of our packs, and hang them up in the tree, and it's gotta be 10 feet off the ground, 4 feet out, and in theory, that'll keep the bears out of it. And so it's probably not bad, too, that's 100 yards from camp, too. What the heck, gets a little further away, any attractants that might have just to the food itself. Move it away from our tent, so
remote assignments come with a few perks, too.
You don't see that every day. Oh, sweet. Look at that thing. We're gonna hike out now. It's about another 2.5 miles up to another lake. See if we can't check some more anglers. We checked one person coming out fishing. They ended up not having their fishing license with them, and gave them a written warning for not having it on their person. Shouldn't be too bad of a hike. We've got all the elevation out of the way, so it's pretty gradual. But we got out of our sweaty hiking shirt, wear something a little more official now, and go see if we can hopefully contact some anglers. There we got somebody fishing. Sucks to walk all the way over there. Well, you turn around and walk all the way back out, but that's what we're gonna do. We really like coming up into these mountain lakes periodically. You know, it's so busy down in the valley, you hardly ever get in here. But you make one contact up in here, it'll spread like wildfire.
Anderson circles the lake and approaches the unsuspecting angler.
I'm a game warden up out of Kalispell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see if I could check your fishing license real quick, which is great. We rely on that more than us being actually in here. Okay, this is last year's fishing license.
Oh, I'm
probably gonna be a green one. Maybe.
Actually, I don't think I renewed, to tell you the truth.
It's the thought of us being in here that hopefully, you know, folks that are on the edge of thinking they need a license or not, maybe that'll push them to actually get one. But, you know, it helps pay to keep this resource, so it's pretty critical. So I'll explain this to you. Fishing without a valid 2014 fishing license on Birch Lake, Flathead County, okay?
Okay.
But, yeah, just get that before you go out fishing again next time, and then you'll be squared away and good to go. Appreciate your cooperation, all right? Thank you, sir. All right. Well, so we just checked this guy, and he had last year's fishing license, which expires in February, so ended up issuing him a citation for fishing without a license. But he's real cooperative, good guy, understanding, so I like that better. And he said there's a couple other guys up here, and I know we saw those guys fishing, but he said they were packing some pretty good heat, which is pretty typical. You just got to be careful, you know, try to use good judgment, officer safety, and trust your instincts. You guys having any luck?
Wardens learn to always expect the unexpected.
Nice. That guy's voice sounds really familiar. And it might not be the same guy, but it sounds like a guy that we had cited for some violations here a little while ago.
State Game Warden Lee Anderson patrols on foot high in Montana's remote Jewel Basin. He spots two men fishing. Both are armed. Anderson cautiously approaches.
How you doing? Yeah?
The warden instantly recognizes one of the men. He's ticketed him for past violations.
How are you? Lee Anderson. Remember? Warden captain, but...
Where?
Out of Kalispell. All right, well, you got your fishing license with you, bud? I'll check that. You come up here quite a bit, you guys? Not too often, no. All right. All right.
How'd you end up down here?
I'm just hiking around.
You seen it?
I could hear you guys down here, so I walked down here.
Be quieter.
You gotta be a little stealthier than that, huh? The drones we had up spotted you.
I see that.
Well, fellas, have a good day, huh?
Their licenses check out, so he moves on.
You know, you prepare for the worst, but a lot of times it works out to be nothing, and that's all that ended up being. But I thought I recognized that guy's voice, and it ended up being who I thought. And we have a case with him right now. We got to get settled. I don't think it's been settled yet on that timber stuff, but anyway, he was fair, good to deal with, and so we'll move on to the next lake and see if we can check some more fishermen.
On the southern end of Region 1, wardens check another fishery a bit closer to civilization.
So we're down here today on Thomson Reservoir at Thomson Falls. Doing is our saturation patrol just to really hit this stretch of water. Thank you.
We just do this every year. Get out on the water, check fishermen.
Do you have your license?
Water safety checks.
Have fun with them, they're cool, but just give guys distance, all right? Other than that, you guys are doing good. Life jackets are good. So just be courteous. Tom works down here pretty much on his own, so we can help guys out. We'll come down and basically hit it with 3 or 4 other wardens and just kind of make our presence known on that day.
Boats can only be registered under Coast Guard law for 3 consecutive years. Sunshine, it's going to be warm out. Probably work quite a bit this afternoon and see what we come up with. Great, thanks a lot.
Well, we appreciate you guys being out here.
Yeah, you bet.
Kind of a good way for wardens to get together and see what goes on in other people's districts.
Today was a great day. Compliance was phenomenal. You know, most people out here are following the rules, not breaking the law. Well, thanks a lot, you guys. Looking forward to doing it again next year.
Near Glacier National Park, Warden Chris Crane patrols water with fishing restrictions.
So we're on the North Fork of the Flathead River. Right across the river there is Glacier National Park. The rest of this is all Flathead National Forest. We've got some special restrictions for this area. You can't intentionally fish for bull trout. So we have certain areas that are closed. One of the areas are some of the tributaries. Big Creek actually flows into the North Fork of Flathead. Right there is the outlet. And there's a closure on there seasonally from June 1 to the end of September. It's listed in our regulations in 2 different spots. And you can see there's actually an angler down there right now, fly fishing within the closure. It's closed within a 150-yard radius of the mouth of Big Creek. So we're gonna go down and make contact with this angler and see what's going on. Hello. Hi. How's it going? Good. You're fishing in a closed area.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Okay. Yeah, you got your fishing license on you? Okay. For bull trout protection.
Oh.
There is some tributaries on the North Fork that are closed, and they are Big Creek, Coal Creek, Whale Creek, and Trail Creek. We usually put signs up, but we haven't gotten those up yet, so I'm just going to write you a written warning.
The state normally posts signs marking areas off limits to fishing. Since the signs are not up yet, Crane decides to cut the angler a break.
So you have an option you can do with this. You can stick it in your vest as a reminder.
The warden uses this situation to educate and moves down the trail.
Just a educational moment, I guess.
When patrolling the backcountry, wardens always prepare for the unexpected.
How's everybody doing?
Crane discovers a hiker who fell and severely sprained his ankle.
What I'm hearing. Looks like he actually has an ER doctor as one of his buddies, which is pretty handy. Who's the medic? You are. Okay. I've got a radio. We can call for help. You know, if he gets out. They didn't want any assistance, really.
But no, yeah, appreciate it, but we'll be good.
Okay. Is there?
We do know you're behind us, so.
I don't want to leave, and then you guys need something, you know.
No, I appreciate it. I realize where you're coming from too.
Yeah, yeah.
I think really we're gonna be all right, but we'll get through.
Okay, all right.
A lot of times he's a tough old bird.
Yeah, okay.
The men decline assistance, but Warden Crane won't walk away quite yet.
Well, you got a mile and a half or so of one of the nastiest, worst trails in the area. 10 after 4 now. 10 o'clock, it's dark. How far have you guys gotten in the
Oh, we've come through the hardest section, is down the waterfall and all that. Otherwise,
okay.
We've made a better time. I think once we get down to the camp, I'd say we can make it easy by dirt.
Okay.
He's doing pretty good on it with this crutch.
Okay. My concerns would be that they got to spend the night up here. If they do that, then you're gonna have to hike out in the morning, which are not, they have some gear, but they're not really prepared. I'll probably call just to report it, to let them know. Okay. In case things turn south. Another concern is you're walking down this and it starts to get dark, you get tired, maybe your back, shoulders start hurting, then you got more complications. Trip again or whatever, just compounds from there. But they're traveling really slow. I mean, it's taking them an hour to get less, like a third of a mile. But they're pretty content on doing it by themselves. So I guess you can't help somebody who doesn't need or want help.
Warden Lee Anderson works alone on a remote foot patrol high in Montana's Jewel Basin. The warden keeps an eye on several sensitive mountain fisheries, remote lakes where anglers rarely encounter wardens.
Catching a few fish, huh? I'm a game warden out of Kalispell. Just out checking some fishing licenses, so. You guys got your licenses with you?
I don't have a fishing license. I didn't catch it.
I have one, but I don't have it on me.
Okay.
Is there any way to look it up?
Why don't you stick your axe over there in a tree? I don't think you're gonna gore me, but we'll take that out of the equation. What I'll do is I'll fill out a written warning for you with your information all on it.
Okay.
You know, you're supposed to have it with you, but we'll follow up on it, make sure you got one.
Neither of these anglers are carrying a valid fishing license.
I've got all your contact information, and I'm gonna follow up, look and make sure you got one. If you do, we'll just leave it at a warning.
Okay, perfect.
And if you don't, then I'll be getting a hold of you.
Okay.
But you got one?
Yep.
Okay. So with you, though, I do have to issue you a citation for not having your license, okay? I'm writing him just a warning because he doesn't have it with him. But you don't have one at all, so you gotta have one if you're gonna be fishing, so.
How much is the ticket?
Actually, the ticket, it's up to the judge.
Fishing without a license often carries a fine of $135.
It's anywhere from 35 to 135 usually. It's somewhere, it falls in there somewhere.
Okay.
I'd recommend getting a license, especially if you're gonna go fishing
this is my
again.
first time fishing, so.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Just get it taken care of by the 11th. And
Great, I'll go in on Monday and do it.
then you don't have to worry about anything after that.
All right.
So.
Great.
But yeah, sorry about
very
that.
much.
Appreciate your cooperation,
Yeah,
fellas.
yeah.
Okay. I will hate to break one other bad news to you. You actually can't have fires within 500 feet of the lake. It's a Forest Service regulation.
So is it okay to build a fire up around those parts?
Stand next to the lake, take about a couple hundred steps, and build yourself a campfire. Yeah, thanks, fellas.
This precious Montana jewel is remote, an area off-grid where rules are sometimes ignored. But the presence of a warden has made a statement.
Survived 3 days. Had a good trip into the Jewel Basin and checked quite a few fishermen, quite a few hikers. All in all, I'd consider it a success. You know, anytime you can check a bunch of fishermen in the backcountry where they don't expect to see is a good thing.
If you're going to enjoy Montana's backcountry, you still have to have a license.
Did end up citing a number of people for not having fishing licenses, as well as writing warnings to people who didn't have it with them. So hopefully the word will get out that we're out there and more people will make sure they have that stuff with them or buy the licenses before they get in there. But just a great trip. Pretty lucky to be in Montana and get something like this pretty close to home.
Just after sunrise,
Smells like elk, that's for sure.
Montana Game Warden Matt Heaton takes a long, cold walk and discovers trouble.
Straight ahead, there's that little lone juniper. She's laying right there dead.
Montana's Region 5 is home to one of the state's largest elk populations. Big numbers of deer and elk lure in hunters who don't always follow the law.
All right, pretty fresh.
Warden Heaton takes a tip call.
Oh, so it's plain sight. All right, have a good one. Bye. Yesterday morning, we had a hunter. He saw a herd of elk, went out, basically drove through a private subdivision, parked in somebody's gate, walked through their yard to a fence line and shot a cow. Went up, gutted it, drug it down the hill, and that's where the deputy met him. They left it there. I went back in with him. Well, the landowner actually went out there today, just walking around, and 10 yards from the gut pile, there's another dead cow elk sitting right next to the gut pile. So this guy shot 2 elk. So I'm gonna go up there to try to dig a bullet out of that carcass, and then I'll have to go interview the guy again and add some more charges onto him. So he was already in a lot of trouble, and now he's gonna be in a whole other world of trouble. So welcome to Red Lodge.
Over in Region 3, winter grips the mountains. Outside the town of Dillon, Warden Rick Schmock keeps an eye on the local elk.
Snow day. It's the first real snow day of the 2014 hunting season, and the first snow day is just the same thing as it is for kids in school. It turns into quite a play day. Like right now we're watching, there's 3 different groups of elk out here with probably 5 or 6 trucks up on the hill above them, and these have a tendency to turn into a bit of a shootout. Elk get out running and crossing the road, and we've got an intermixture of BLM and private right up here. So we're just gonna sit here for a little bit and watch these elk and these hunters and see what happens.
Heavy snow drove the herds down out of the mountains. Now the elk sit on public and private land. A tempting situation for hunters. The warden takes a Tipmont call.
I just got a call from a guy that's down on Bannock Flats, and there's somebody driving down there where no vehicles are allowed, and they screwed their hunt, scared the elk away. The guy's name that called was Jimmy, and his phone number is 925.
Rick calls the complainant.
Hello, is this Jimmy?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Jimmy. This is Game Warden Rick Schmock. How are you?
Good, Rick. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. Hey, I just got a call from Tipmont. What do you got going on there?
We're out on the Bannock Road. We're on the east side going up into the Little Rockies.
Okay.
And we came down, hiked down on a bunch of elk, and there's a truck down below us that's driving on a closed road.
Oh, really?
They actually cut them off. This group of elk's about to cross the Bannock Road right now. It's going to be a freaking slaughter.
Is there a bunch of people there?
Warden Schmock realizes he might have a dangerous situation. Elk on the move and multiple hunters with rifles.
And then came back up. But yeah, they're about to cross the main Bannock Road right now. There's one legal bull in the bunch, a lot of spikes. There's about 4 or 5 cows.
There, what was the vehicle driving off-road? What was its description?
Dark gray, 4-door, headache crack. It's dark gray or green. It's a 4-door Chevy or GMC.
Okay. All right, I'll start heading that way. Like I said, I'm just up here by Red Butte, so I'll try to get there as soon as I can.
Rick makes a beeline to stop the trucks before things get out of hand.
It's elk hunting, 21st century. There's this dark Chevy that was driving on a closed road.
In Montana's Region 5, State Game Warden Matt Heaton responds to a tip call.
Monday morning, I had a hunter start down this road into a neighborhood and parked in front of somebody's house before walking out and shooting some elk. On Monday, when I dealt with him, there was only one elk. I never did go out to the actual kill site where he shot it. The elk had already been drugged down the hillside. He seemed cooperative, so I didn't do any further digging. I thought it was an open and shut deal. Got a call from the actual homeowner, the landowner up there, who said he walked out to the gut pile and found a second cow elk laying there dead next to the gut pile. So because of that, I'm going to take some more evidence. It just kind of helps solidify our case against him. Straight ahead, there's that little lone juniper. She's laying right there dead.
The second animal lies just feet from where the suspect says he shot another elk.
And there it is, clear as day. There's an entry wound. So that other gut pile should be somewhere right over here. He said it's only about 10 yards. Yep, here's his drag. So this is where he shot the elk. She fell here, tumbled here, he gutted her there. And that was where the first one. And from this one, from where he's standing here gutting, it's plain sight to the second elk that's laying here dead.
Heaton hopes to recover a bullet that might tie the suspect to the second shooting. On the snow-covered mountains outside of Dillon, Montana, Warden Rick Schmock searches for a gray pickup. A caller says the truck chased elk on a road off limits to driving.
There's this dark Chevy that was driving on a closed road. Maybe, maybe not.
Schmock stops to investigate.
Get out and visit with these guys real quick. How are you guys?
Fine. Good.
How was the hunt?
The guys got one down here. We were just watching them here.
Oh, yeah. Did this guy shoot from the road then?
Jumped the
He
fence.
jumped
the fence.
Okay. The reason I ask is we got a call that there was somebody shooting from the road along here somewhere. All right, guys, I'll let you get back to it. Have a good day.
This appears to be a different group, not related to the Tipmont call. Rick keeps looking. Further east in Region 5, Warden Paul Lupke takes another tip call.
All right, well, I tell you what, I'll be there, in about an hour or less, and then we'll meet up and we'll take care of it, all right?
All right.
Well, we're heading into Absorki right now to go deal with the guy that shot supposedly a big bull elk, got out with a couple of his buddies, and they lied to the landowner. He told her that he did have a permit. She was kind of suspicious of that, so she asked if I'd look into it. I did. Turns out he does not have a permit. And I don't think they were ever going to tell me about it. I think they were just going to try to get it into the meat processor and Billings, probably divvy it up and call it good. But I talked to him on the phone. He's agreed to meet us at his house and take us to go see the elk. So that's what we're going to go see if we can find right now. From Paul.
Oh, yeah.
How are you?
Doing fine.
Okay. Just hop in my truck. I'll just visit for a minute, and then we'll go fetch that critter. All right. All right. So let's just go from the beginning. What's going on? Why the heck am I here?
And we was on our way towards the vehicle, and we had heard the shooting out in front of us, so we was trying to hurry a little bit. And it was a long ways. And I'd gotten down there, just walking towards my vehicle. And it was a long ways, it was still a long ways off, and I'd cut down a coulee. When I was going down this coulee right there, there's a bull. And I said, okay, what do I do with this? I'm from the old days, you don't.
No, wait a second. You're telling me you didn't shoot this thing?
No.
Okay.
And I haven't even shot my gun. I didn't even practice this year.
You're just saying you found a dead bull elk there?
Yeah.
Okay, who shot it?
I have no idea.
The man says he did not shoot the elk. Paul wonders why the hunter never reported the dead elk.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, you know me. You've earned it. Listen, just stop. I know, but look, you know me. I've been here for quite a while now. This is my 10th hunting season here. I'm not hard to get a hold of. Everybody has my phone number. Averill has my phone number. The sheriff's office have my phone number. Probably half your neighbors up here have my phone number. It's easy. You can call 911.
Warden Lupke isn't buying the story.
I read that Montana hotline on the things that you're supposed to do. You know,
I know, but Sam, just listen to me. This is why it's not making sense to me. I know this is why it's not making sense to me. That's why I know there's a little bit more to this than what you're telling me.
Montana has a lot of elk, but in some places, too many elk compete with agriculture, impacting landowners' bottom line.
That being the case, the overriding goal is to get elk populations to population objective.
To try and manage elk, Fishwife and Park sets an elk objective for a given area and then uses hunting to try to stay within that objective. But currently in the 138 elk management areas, 80 of them have too many elk.
We have statute telling us, we have landowners telling us that we need to manage to population objective, and we know that, and we're being very serious about it. And so the thing about shoulder seasons is that will hopefully give landowners and sportsmen the opportunity to help us manage elk to population objective.
This year's shoulder seasons is a pilot project focused on a few areas in central Montana. If successful, shoulder seasons will be expanded to allow hunters more time in the field, to help landowners bring elk to objective.
What a shoulder season is, it's a regular season that hunters can participate in that can be earlier or later than what we've come to know as the general season. They will be open to anybody that is legally can hunt in that area. It's not a roster system. You don't have to be on a roster. It's not a game damage hunt.
FWP hopes with hunters and landowners working together, these shoulder seasons will be a viable tool for managing Montana's elk.
It has to be a community effort, but we're very optimistic that it will work.
I'm Winston Greeley, out among Montana's fish, wildlife, and parks.
Region 5 Warden Paul Lupke is interviewing a suspect. A dead elk has been found, and no one claims pulling the trigger.
Listen, I know.
You won't find my bullet in it or his or none of them.
Well, if I do find a bullet in there and it matches one of those guys, I'm going to be seriously unhappy.
Well, I am too.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that, no, we didn't shoot. I mean, Joe shot up on the hill.
Is there a chance that he could have winged it?
No,
not knowing maybe it traveled down there?
I don't think it would travel that far.
This is all in 575, right? This is over by the Buttes, by the Twin Buttes.
Yeah.
All right, where does Joe live?
I'll show you.
Okay.
Montana game warden John Lasofsky patrols on a remote road outside of White Sulphur Springs. Storm damage stops him in his tracks, literally.
I think we're done. I should have had my note to self, put my saw back in my truck.
Wardens stock their trucks for the unexpected. He finds a handsaw and gets to work.
You get all the huffing and puffing. But if we can get through, this will save us 15, 20 miles.
The warden uses a tow strap to clear the cut branch. Such is life as a Montana game warden. Now, it's time to work.
Got a call from the sheriff that basically had a mule deer buck up here that's all tangled up in twine and wire, so we're gonna see what kind of condition it's in. Is that it right there? That has to be it.
Lasofsky arms himself and heads out in the field.
He's got his head still up.
Wounded deer can be unpredictable.
Is he looking this way? This thing just isn't. I'm not happy.
The warden must approach with absolute caution.
Wardens is brought to you by Streamlight. Heroes trust Streamlight. And by Polaris, the world leader in off-road. Visit Polaris.com.
In Montana's Region 4, game warden John Lasofsky cautiously approaches a mule deer buck tangled up in baling twine.
Hold it. Yeah, I'm not gonna let that go.
The tangled animal appears too stressed to flee. The warden makes a tough decision.
This deer was stuck out here. We usually have an antelope buck or any of the mule deer pops that get into this vet wrap they have up here, the wrap that they have for the bales, sometimes baling twine, sometimes just the wrap itself. This one looks like it's got the wrap. Been tangled up, couldn't get up, wrapped around its front leg and its throat and its horns. And in the end, would have just tried to keep going, but he'd end up suffering, so we put him down.
The deer had a massive amount of twine tangled in its antlers and around its body. This animal won't be wasted. John will donate the deer to the local food bank. Over in Region 5, Warden Paul Lupke investigates an illegal elk kill on private property.
You're saying that I changed it?
He talks to a suspect who says he found the animal but did not kill it.
No, wait a second. You're telling me you didn't shoot this thing?
No.
Paul heads into town to talk to a second potential suspect.
Would you mind just jumping in my seat back over there? But if you're leaving me with any kind of false story, especially a recorded statement like this, I mean, you're going to be in some significant trouble. Is there any chance that you want to change what you're telling me now? No. Not at all?
The man says he did not kill the elk.
You sure? Okay, because I'll let you go right now if you're comfortable with leaving me with that information. And we've got to figure out who shot that, and we will figure out who shot that.
Wardens confiscate the elk and perform an autopsy to look for further evidence.
That came right out there, didn't it?
There's lead right there.
Yeah. So we just did what we call a necropsy, basically peel the hide back and see what the bullet did. Found just a tiny little fragment of lead in there, but not a good solid bullet. But it's a pass-through, which means it went in one side, went completely out the other side. And the better part of its shoulder was pretty damaged, so we're confident that it was shot and probably went down really fast. So I don't know at this point if it helps us that much, but depending on what they tell us, it might match up with something they give us later.
For now, this case will remain open, but both men remain key suspects. Further east, Warden Matt Heaton also investigates a dead elk case.
The only remotely saving grace of this whole thing is I don't need to worry about taking care of meat or anything, so I can just cut what I need to cut and be done. So here's my bullet hole. That's where it entered in.
The warden hopes to recover a bullet that might match the kill to a suspected shooter.
So that means the bullet's somewhere up in the hillside. Shoot. I'll take a sweep with the metal detector, try to find that bullet. My odds are pretty slim at this point. I'll give it a shot. The case will be a little harder to prove now. I won't have that smoking, that smoking gun piece of evidence of that bullet that can match to a gun. Instead, I've got two witnesses that heard two shots. I've got an elk gut pile 80 feet away. I've got a second elk dead in the same spot. If he didn't shoot it, he had to have seen it. And why he didn't mention it, there's been no one else in here hunting. The circumstantial evidence is piling up against him, so I don't have the bullet which I was hoping for, but I still have enough to charge him anyway.
Uncovering the truth is paramount to a warden's job.
A lot of times, they'll just sit right on the hide.
Oh, yeah.
The job of protecting the precious resources of Montana, America's last best place. The last days of Montana's hunting season draws hunters from every corner of the state. In Region 2, Warden Joe Cambick's week might have started slowly, but his work suddenly ramps up.
I'm eating Cheetos and working here. I don't get a union break. Although I am the union president, I'm gonna put in for that. Oh my, what's going on over here? There is a lot going on right now. Shoes, blue jeans, no pack. What are you gonna do if you shoot one? I'm just disappointed in humanity right now. Is it empty? You're pointing it at your buddy. Thanks, guys. See ya. That's Wardens. That's Joe Cambick. He's just a big, hairy American winning machine.
In Montana's Region 4, Warden John Lasofsky makes a rare trip into town.
We're going into the big HQ in Great Falls, Montana. Got to pick some batteries up for the scanner and maybe have my captain help me frickin' get it programmed and ticket book, and we're back out of here headed to the high country. But every so often you gotta stop and check in, and that's what we're doing today. Huh? Well, I guess we're gonna go to the front door because I don't know how to get through the back door. How bad is that? Shows how often I get to the regional headquarters. Locked out and don't even know it. What's happening? We snuck over the top of the mountain. This is one of my girlfriends here.
Headquarters is the regional hub for all wardens. It's an opportunity to discuss field issues as well as staffing and equipment needs. Updating key communication tools like scanners are vital in the fight against violators.
And then could you push it back and push it again and it starts scanning?
This trip is a quick one. After setting up the new scanner, Lasofsky heads for the high country.
I think I got everything put together for a full week of hunting season.
Over in Region 2, Warden Joe Cambick's morning gets busy, fast.
Your information failed to obtain.
First call, Cambick catches up with a hunter who trespassed on private property.
He saw me and pulled in and said, I'm gonna just go face the music and get it over with. And I admire that because he knew he was caught and he knew he was in trouble, so he's owning it.
Shortly after, Cambick meets another suspect. This man shot a spike elk, which is illegal in that district.
You took possession of an elk that was unlawfully killed, and you didn't call right away. You tried to get it out, you drove out there. And I told you there was a possibility of about 3 tickets. All there is, the possibility of 3 tickets. And I'm only gonna go with 1, but it's because you were cooperative, okay? When you damage property that belongs to anybody, whether it's Fish, Wildlife, and Parks or private deeded ground, it can be a criminal mischief.
The suspect walks away with a $135 ticket, much to the chagrin of his family.
The wife doesn't like me, I can guarantee you that. She's clearly giving me the stink eye.
Cambick heads out of town. That's when he spots 2 men with a cow elk. Neither claim to be the hunter who shot it.
Was she with you this morning?
Yeah.
The men say their sister shot the elk. The tags check out. Still, Cambick wants to interview the shooter. She's already back out hunting.
Well, this is her B license, that she can shoot a cow in 213. But she's not allowed to use her general tag on a bull in 213. So before she goes down and shoots a bull, we need to get her stopped.
Last week of hunting season keeps Montana wardens busy. In Region 2, Warden Joe Cambick investigates a dead cow elk in the back of a pickup. These 2 men say their sister shot the elk.
You know, the red flag has to go up when 2 guys are driving around with a cow elk with somebody else's tag on it, so we'll just make her come out. We'll see what happens.
Cambick stops to wait for the shooter. The brothers also turn over her gun.
Look at that. I asked if this was his sister's gun, and he said, what, you don't like my scope? That's pretty.
The shooter finally shows up.
Vanessa, how are you? Do you have your conservation license on you? So you had to get all replacements because you must have lost your license. That never happens to anybody. Do you have a cow license, or how old are you?
The tags check out. Her being under 16 allows her to kill another cow with her general license.
I thought you were shooting a bull. I got you all confused now.
Yeah, I'm like,
Never mind.
just don't shoot a bull here.
Wait a minute.
Don't shoot a bull.
I'm going to see how more confused I can get you guys. No, you just can't shoot a bull here, but you can shoot another cow.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Thank you. Good
All
luck.
right. Good luck, guys.
One case closes.
All right.
And another case opens. Cambick gets a report of a woman shooting in an area restricted to youth only for antlerless elk.
Yeah, I'm pretty much guessing that this is it right here. How's it going? Were you getting some shots?
She tried, but she couldn't get nothing.
You didn't shoot?
Me?
Yeah.
I helped her with her gun, her scope she lost.
So you took a shot?
No, I stood with her, holding her.
McCloskey 210.
Go ahead.
Would you come up here a sec?
On my way.
Cambick calls for local land access coordinator Kendra McCloskey. She saw the shooting occur. He wants her side of the story.
So you're telling me you didn't take a shot?
With her, yes. Holding her, yes.
Holding her, but she shot.
Yes.
Okay, because I got somebody tell me you were shooting. Is that true?
No. And you tell somebody to come and talk to me because
Somebody's on their way.
she's my little girl. This is her first year.
Okay, we're gonna move down here, get out of the road here a second, okay?
Joe presses for the truth.
Do you have a cow tag?
She does.
She does, but you don't.
This is her first year. Her dad and I have done a thing where we hold her. If her gun doesn't shoot, she shoots the other gun, and we hold her so we take more of the brunt than she does. And she missed.
How many shots?
I couldn't even tell you. There were quite a few.
What about this one up here that looks injured that's up there, that calf?
We didn't shoot a cow. We were shooting
Okay.
at a front cow, and it jumped the fence.
Okay. Hold on one second. I'm just going to talk to Kendra here real quick.
Turns out every story has 2 sides.
About her story about shooting. Is that possible?
I saw 2 rifles up at the same time.
Okay, so there's another rifle in that truck.
In Montana's Region 2, Warden Joe Campick tries to get to the truth.
Okay, because I got somebody tell me you were shooting. Is that true?
No.
A Fish, Wildlife, and Parks employee reported seeing a woman shooting at elk in an area designated only for youth hunting. She claims she was only helping her daughter support her rifle. This isn't the first time Warden Campick has dealt with this hunter. Last season, she was ticketed for firing at a decoy. So her story raises questions.
Is that possible?
I saw 2 rifles up at the same time.
Okay, so there's another rifle in that truck. Yeah. You have a rifle in here.
We have 2. Yes.
Yep. And when both rifles are up at the same time, and there's shots being fired.
Her rifle's jammed, and her scope she bumped. Her rifle was setting against our truck, so she took ours, and I stood with her.
Well, that's not what we saw.
I checked her scope for her. I said, okay, you're gonna have to use mine. Go ahead, I'll hold you. She kept missing, hitting behind the animal. I said, you can't keep doing that. Let's go down here.
Okay, so this one up here that's injured, you're saying isn't yours?
We did not touch that one. They were shooting from the other side coming too.
I just need to see both rifles real quick, and we'll go from there.
Warden Campick inspects both rifles to see if they're in working order. A quick check confirms the calibers, .243 and .30-06.
This is her first year.
Okay.
We're trying. Today's the last day.
I know, and you got it.
Wants to make Daddy proud.
I know. I understand that completely. Can I just see your license real quick, and then we'll get out of your hair?
The witness sticks to her story.
It appeared like 2 people were shooting. And it's impossible to say which gun was discharged from that distance.
It is.
But when
problem.
they split up and there's 2 rifles and there's multiple shots being fired, and then I can tell the difference between the woman and the kid. And I can tell you she had a rifle up almost the entire time. It looked like she was the one shooting.
She was trying to fill that tag for that kid. There's no question in my mind. And that injured elk is still up there. We still might have a chance. So I'm not going to find brass up there. Follow your tracks, 30-06, 243.
You're gonna find out 6, yes.
But I won't find any 243.
No, she didn't shoot.
Okay. If that's the case, then that's fine.
Well, it is the case, and it will be fine.
Okay.
I mean, every year, Joe, every year. And then when I call you to come out to my house when something's wrong, we get in trouble. What I'm trying to tell you is that we're not doing anything illegal.
So if I go up there and I find 243 brass and I find 30-06 brass,
you're gonna find out 6. I told you that.
I know, and I'm gonna find and I'm telling you, if I find 243, I'm gonna come back and write you a ticket for hunting without a license.
Why don't you do that?
Okay. You know, I'm just doing my job.
I know you are, and I'm not trying to be mad at you. I'm just like, my God.
Okay. Well, then we'll be in touch if there's anything else, and good luck the rest of the year.
All right.
Okay. See ya.
Joe heads up the hillside to check for evidence, but a small caravan of trucks catches his attention.
There's definitely an elk in the back of the red one. I mean, this is a whole flippin' tribe of people.
The warden makes contact.
Howdy. How you doing? Good. How are you?
Not so bad.
Good. Who got the elk?
The passenger says he shot the elk.
Oh, you got it? Nice. Can I take a quick look at it? Okay. And this is the only license you have?
Well, I mean, I got the conservation and a couple others like that.
Okay. This is a general elk license, and you need an elk B for here. Do you not have that?
No, I didn't. I didn't know that I needed that.
Yeah, you do. You can't shoot a cow with the general elk license here. So where are you guys from?
Butte.
You're from Butte?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have permission to be out on this property?
I didn't know that we needed permission.
Okay. Do you have your conservation on you there?
I don't have it on me right now.
No? You're hunting without that?
I forgot it at my house.
Oh, bummer. Do you have your license on you?
I don't have the license.
You don't hunt? Okay.
Just helping him, driving him.
You're just helping him drive. Do you have a driver's license on your ID of any kind?
No, I left it, it's with my conservation in my wallet.
But you had your elk tag?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I didn't even expect to go hunting today. He just started to came and swoop me.
You said, let's do it, huh? All right. Well, I'll tell you what.
Is there a way, could we just go buy a bee?
We can't. Got to put in for him. You guys pull over right up here for me. Do you know these people, or did they just come to help you?
They just came to help.
Okay.
These hunters leave Campick speechless. They broke darn near every rule in the book.
Yeah,
Is it empty? You're pointing it at your buddy. Okay, put it in back in the car there as long as it's empty. How about an ID? Do you have that on you, driver's license? You didn't bring anything. You guys are kind of a hot mess this morning. Okay, I'll be right with you. I mean, they just came out killing elk today, and they did. Unfortunately for them, we were here.
Cambick asked for identification from both men.
No hunting license. You have a driver's license, just not with you.
I don't.
You don't have a driver's license. And why is that?
I haven't taken the test.
Oh. Yeah, you should probably take the test.
My mom's truck.
Turns out the shooter has no ID and the driver has never had a valid driver's license.
Apparently, you don't need a license to do anything around here. Drive, hunt. How are the Giants doing? I copy. Can you run me a couple of...
The warden calls state police to run both men's names.
He's driving a vehicle. I don't know if your officers want to come out and handle that or not, if they have time.
Cambick writes the shooter a ticket for killing a cow elk without a valid hunting license. But there's still the issue of permission.
I'm letting this go on the hunting without permission because I don't have a complaint from the landowner. Again, if I get a complaint from the landowner, I got to come back.
All right.
You need to get a driver's license.
I just gotta get a vehicle that I can take the test in.
You can't take it in this, I suppose. Okay.
Too rickety, they said.
Too rickety. All right. Well, you can't go hunting in places where you don't know where you're at. Get the regulations. They're free of charge.
He has more bad news for these hunters.
But you can't drive this home. So you're gonna have to call somebody to come get you.
All right.
Sound good?
Yep.
The warden confiscates the illegally harvested elk and adds one final warning.
And don't move until somebody gets here, because if I see you driving, I gotta stop you again.
Yep. Okay.
Okay?
Alrighty.
All right, gentlemen.
Thank you. Cool.
All right, thanks.
Yep. Sorry about that. Sorry for everything.
All right. Best there is, plain simple. That was something else.
With foul weather on the way, Region 2 Game Warden Joe Cambick sets up a roadside check station.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
It's the last day of hunting season, and Joe fears the last-minute hunters might not be following the law.
How's it going?
A bunch of people in a Toyota just killed a cow.
Oh, just now?
Yeah. I mean, it was kicking when we just came by.
Witnesses stop to report a late kill.
So what are you guys gonna do?
I'm gonna go up and get him.
Good.
Cambick suspects the shooter's only way out is past the checkpoint. He waits.
Aren't people stopping?
It's Montana law that all hunters must stop at a check station. Once the hunters spot Joe's lights, they quickly stop.
How's it going today?
Good.
You guys have any luck today? Great. Looks like you got some blood back there or something, huh?
Yes.
Can I get you guys to come back here to this pull out? We're right here in a bad spot. Well, you guys just got this.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so you got one of these tags. Where'd you get it?
Just a mile or two up where you can cross the railroad crossing thing, and it says federal land.
Do you know you're not supposed to use this tag on Forest Service? 212-01, valid south of Boulder Creek. You're way off. What you should have here is a 212-03 license where you killed that cow. You got your conservation license on you handy there? Why don't you go sit, Jerry, in your truck, get warm, and I'll be right with you, okay?
Joe calls Warden Terry Althouse.
Yeah, I talked to them earlier and ran them off at Douglas Creek.
Yeah, I think they were up to no good the whole time.
Well, I ain't very far from you. I'll keep moseying that way.
Yes, I'm just gonna ride him wrong district. How am I gonna write? I can't use my fingers.
The hunter receives a $135 ticket for hunting in the wrong district. Not only that, his elk is confiscated.
This crew Terry talked to over by Douglas Mountain today and talked to them about where they could hunt and where they couldn't hunt with what tags they had.
Warden Althouse arrives and questions the men.
What are you thinking with these areas where these cow permits are for?
I thought that there was only 2 districts. Mine was good for not there, so it's good for anywhere else in 212. But I guess I'm in the wrong.
Wow.
Yeah, I really did think
you're way out.
Yeah, I thought there was 2 districts, not this.
Before that, we just found out that one of our block management patrollers talked to the same group, and he also told them what they could and couldn't do. Then on their way out of here, they run into some elk, they shoot a cow. Like I said, they rolled the dice, they got caught.
I guess what I'm thinking is your ticket's what, a bond of $135?
That's it.
Is that it?
$135, take the elk.
For a second, he doesn't know.
We picked the right place to be on a check station to get one, because that happens quite a bit, I'm sure. We'll see what else Terry comes up with on this interview. So he's just gonna talk to him about the rest of the story. He had every opportunity in the world to do this right and didn't.
Exactly. And so that's why I think that citation needs to be steeper. It's just a matter of how we address that.
The wardens also cite the hunter for transporting an illegally harvested animal. That ticket carries a $550 fine. Hard lessons learned on a cold, snowy Montana night.
What is going on with global warming right now?
Oh, hey, look, it's letting up. That's letting up.